Welcome, healthy friends, to the Reality of Health podcast. Today we're doing something just a little bit different. If you're on video, this is the first time I'm showing my screen. If you're listening audio, well, you could go to any of the channels that do video and you can see it. It's not totally necessary, but it can be a little bit more fun. In the future, you'll see my face. I'm figuring all that out, but bear with me. This is my first screen share experience. All right, let's get going. So today we're talking about mRNA and all the new upcoming vaccines. You know, all the ones you're hearing about right now. This episode is about not being fearful of those. I'm going to show you some stuff. First thing is, you are not being genetically reprogrammed. Nope, that's not happening. And yes, the injections are harmful, that's for sure. You know of these new variants like bird flu and all these other things you've heard like Omicron, etc., etc. It's all just made up nonsense. Do you remember when the powers that be made the pandemic simulation exercise with Johns Hopkins? Right before CV-19. Well, the powers did another one in October of 2022. They called it SEERS, S-E-E-R-S, Severe Epidemic Enterovirus Respiratory Syndrome. Gates said while CV-19 is slowing, there will be another pandemic. It is all but certain. I'm saying vaccines have no purpose to help you. They will only harm you. So let's go to the first tab we've got here. This is what they tell you is a virus. They say that the mRNA creates spike proteins. Spike proteins are not what you've been told. Science doesn't support it. Never proven to harm you or that they are specific to any pathogen. Let's hear it right from somebody who is really known in the industry. Dr. Saeed Qureshi, I think that's how you say it. Right here. However, a critical literature review indicates that no claimed mRNA exists, but isolate culture-based gunk is being used as a vaccine, causing tremendous adverse effects. Hang on, it gets better. Remember, this guy is one of the leaders. You'll see. Okay, here we go. Another one right here. However, the COVID-19 mRNA is proprietary. No information about its nature and purity is available in the public domain. Therefore, one must rely on general information regarding what is present in the vaccine vials and how they may have been synthesized, manufactured, and purified. Yep, it gets better. Then he says, right here, considering my extensive expertise and experience, 40 plus years, in separation science, including exhaustive training and experience in chromatography, I can confidently say that the steps described here would not be able to produce the claimed pure and isolated mRNA until shown otherwise. So why is that important? Well, this guy is highly respected for over 40 years, and he just told you it's gunk. So then what are the vaccines? Well, they're toxic, that's for sure. So many chemicals. Some you literally almost cannot even pronounce. And by the way, they don't occur in nature at all, these chemicals. Then they have heavy metals, endotoxins, PEG, antibiotics, proteins that shouldn't even be injected in the blood, yeast, bacteria, geometric structures, crystalline formations, microbubbles, and nanotechnology. Yes, they are finding that. Simple search will show you. Let's move on. Here, this is a picture of so-called how it's created. One we're focusing on here is supposedly the mRNA. It's nothing more than cell debris. Waste material from the cultures they make this stuff in. It's just disgusting. They use things like E. coli and a bunch of other bacteria. So you see what's happening. RNA is transcribed, comes out of the cell nucleus. RNA is translated in by the ribosome into this protein. Okay? See all those letters and colors? Isn't it pretty? Yeah, well, they've never seen that happen because they can't produce any evidence that ribosomes are real. Nevertheless, all of this other stuff is completely made up. They say that this is what ribosomes look like, and that thing right there, whatever that is, that little tiny, that's actually mRNA. This is all nanoscale, by the way. So they want you to think that this is this, which is this. So they want you to think that this is mRNA right there. See that? I don't know about you. That doesn't look like anything to me. That could be literally anything. They say those are ribosomes. How do they know? They don't. You're just injecting waste debris in products from manufacturing. There is no therapeutic effect. It's just all side effects. Here's how this works. You poison someone with an injection or any other way to get poison into them. This destroys their tissue. Then the body makes antibodies to remediate the tissue, and then they test for an antibody. And lo and behold, we have found an antibody. This proves there is a virus or contagion. Well, guess what? You can be poisoned from many things in your life. Food, air, water, EMS. Doesn't mean there is a pathogen. You know, they're never going to stop a mythical contagion with an injection of harmful ingredients and waste material. They totally know what they're making. If under emergency use, then these companies have total immunity to the law. They can't be held accountable. There is no coding protein to help you combat a made-up magical virus because there is no spike protein. There are no ribosomes that make coding proteins from the spike proteins. They've never proven ribosomes exist. It's all made up. It's a theory that they don't want to test because it would ruin the whole medical model. It's all fake, just like so many other things in this world. Don't be afraid of some mythical virus that they can't prove exists. Be afraid of whatever they are doing to mimic a contagion. Let's move on. The term virus. As an example, it derives from the Latin word virus, meaning toxin or poison. Yes, that's what that means. Virus is just a toxin or poison. I've been telling you, all of this is just poisoning. And this brings us to the reason why they say if you take a vaccine, you'll create your own antibodies against the said virus. When in reality, your body increases proteins to counteract the poisons that you have somehow ingested. They are called antibodies. Now, that is a picture of an antibody. Here we have this thing, and then we have these things, and then we have this thing, and they say that they look like this, and then they say they're like this. See this here? And then they say it looks like these, like all these Y's are like people standing with their arms up. And then they say it looks like this. So you tell me, is it this? Or is it this? Or is it this? They don't really know. You know why? Because these are just proteins that your body makes to remediate the area of your sickness. They're there to rebuild the tissue. They clean up the waste. Like if you're building a house and then when you're done building a house, you got to clean up the inside of the house. You got to clean up the yard. You got to get rid of all the stuff you didn't use and, all the scraps. Antibodies don't go and attack a virus and destroy it. There is no virus. You were simply poisoned in some way or another from actual chemicals or EMF exposure or bad food or bad water or any number of things. Then your body increases the protein count, which is what you think is antibodies to clean up the mess. The whole basis of what you're told to believe in, as far as your immune system, is your body has antibodies that have a locking key mechanism for diseases, therefore rendering them ineffective. And then they claim that these antibodies are specific to specific diseases, but they have yet to show specificity. One specific antibody for one specific disease. Now, this is written by Clifford Saper. He's an antibody expert, Harvard Medical School professor. And he said, let's see if I can highlight it. Can't do it. There is no such thing as a monoclonal antibody that, because it is monoclonal, recognizes only one protein or only one virus. It will bind to any protein having the same or very similar sequence. They told you that the vaccine for CV19 will stop CV19 virus. He is saying, no, antibodies don't do that. They can basically attach to anything. You see how weird this is? Even the antibody tests on the package state that there is no calibration standard. That means they can be easily manipulated. These so-called antibodies change all the time based on many factors like, for example, pH. It's kind of like the PCR tests that we just talked about recently. It's all hogwash. It's all mythical, magical theory, disproven many, many times. And when you ask them to prove it, they can't. They just say, yes, we isolated it. And we say, show us the isolation. And they say, well, here it is right here. And then I just showed you what it supposedly looks like. Those little red things right there are the spike proteins. And when those things shoot off into the cellular cytoplasm or your blood or anything else, those things right there, your body then makes antibodies for those. And then when they see these things, a virus like this with these things on them, these spikes, then your immune system goes and kills it. It engulfs it. Another quick question I have for you. Does any of this look real? First of all, these are all CG, right? We got CG, more CG, an actual model, but it's, plastic. And then there's this thing looks like this thing. And then this is supposedly the proteinous structure of a virus. These are all, made up pictures. Do you see any real photos? All just made up. You see? All made up. And here's the one right here. So it shoots off and then it's coming to get you. Yes, it's just nonsense. All right, I think that's enough for today. If you would like consultation or coaching, feel free to contact me. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourselves.